They were planning a big musical event dedicated to their lead singer, Freddie Mercury, who died last night of AIDS.
On that stage, he was crossing over into another world. Freddie Mercury was not just a musical genius. He was a legendary character, an icon, and often a heavy burden carried by a lonely man. So, what made him so special? Why are his songs still played all over the world? But behind all this glory, there was a dark truth: Freddie's tragic end. The moment he said goodbye to the stage marked the end of not just a life, but an era. In this video, we will discover the triumphs and losses in Freddie Mercury's life and the end of that unforgettable story. Freddie Mercury was born on September 5, 1946 in Zanzibar to a Parsi family. Mercury, whose real name was Farrokh Bulsara, discovered his interest in music from an early age. While studying in India, he started playing the piano and joined his school choir at the age of 12. However, it was in England, where their family moved for work, that he would find his true identity. Once in London, young Freddie made a life-changing decision to pursue music professionally. After graduating from university, he decided to make his mark in the world of rock music. Initially, he was in various bands, but he experienced his true transformation with Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, the founder of Queen. At first, Freddie was known only as a talented singer, but his energy and unique style on stage quickly brought him to the center of the rock world. During this period, he laid the cornerstones of both Queen's and his own career. An important turning point in Freddie Mercury's life was the formation of Queen in 1970. He had been in a few different bands before, but with Queen, he took the first steps on his way to the top of the rock world. Together with band members Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, Freddie Mercury combined his on-stage energy and songwriting skills to create a unique musical style. Over time, Queen's musical style reached a turning point, blending genres such as rock, opera, pop, and hard rock. Their 1973 album, Sheer Heart Attack, was the band's first album to achieve international success, but the real breakthrough came with 1975's A Night at the Opera. The most iconic track of the album, Bohemian Rhapsody, was not just a song but a musical revolution. Many music critics and listeners consider this song to be one of the greatest works in the history of rock music. It cemented the band's reputation both musically and visually. Freddie's performance on stage was always a unique feature of the band. His charisma on stage, his powerful vocals, and his tremendous connection with the audience made him a legendary figure in the rock world. His musical harmony with the other members of Queen further strengthened the group dynamics. However, Freddie's personality and style was not limited to music. His costumes, makeup, and stage design on stage inspired the popular culture of the time. Queen's albums and concerts always made a huge impact, and the band gained millions of fans around the world. This period was the peak of Freddie's career. However, during this time, he experienced profound changes in his inner world, and the balance between his personal and professional life became increasingly difficult. One of the biggest challenges in Freddie Mercury's life was the struggles in his personal life. Mercury, who projected his power and energy to his audience when he was on stage, could be a more private and lonely person in his private life. He was often criticized, especially over his sexual identity and personal relationships. But his biggest test was the rapid deterioration of his health in the late 1980s. For a while, Freddie went through periods of feeling lonely and empty inside. Friends he was very close to at the time said that he was sometimes emotionally and psychologically fragile. But the music he brought to the world at that time was a reflection of these inner struggles and loneliness. He experienced great difficulties and darkness, not only as a rock star, but also as a human being. In 1991, Freddie Mercury announced that he had contracted AIDS. This announcement shocked the world. Until that day, not much was known about the Freddie's state of health, but the final stage of the disease shook everyone to the core. While Freddie was fighting the biggest battle of his life, he preferred to keep it private. In his last years, he hid his illness from the public and chose to live on his own and spend his last moments with his close friends. During this period, the way Freddie produced music also changed. Freddie, who usually went on long and energetic concert tours, began to appear on stage less and less due to the effects of his illness. But the last songs and albums he recorded until 1991 are still the culmination of his musical genius. Innuendo was the last album he recorded before his illness and has become an unforgettable work that reflects his power. Freddie's death grieved not only the music world, but the whole world, but his legacy lives on. Today, Freddie Mercury's life is a symbol not only of a rock legend, but also of the human struggle against adversity. Queen remained active after Freddie's death. The other members of the band looked for ways to keep the music going after the loss of Freddie. In the early 2000s, they continued to perform with names like Paul Rodgers and later Adam Lambert. However, it was never possible to replace Freddie Mercury. He was not only a music legend but also a lifestyle icon. Queen's songs are still popular years later. Iconic tracks such as Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, and Somebody to Love are frequently featured in today's music charts. The 2018 movie Bohemian Rhapsody brought the history of Freddie Mercury and Queen back into the spotlight. By offering an in-depth look into Freddie's life, the movie managed to influence a new generation who wanted to understand his life,